Hey, it's another Masters of the Universe guy. This time, Trapjaw. I spent weeks looking for this guy. Weeks. I tried to order him on Entertainment Earth. Happened to have crossed him one day on Amazon, of all places, for the actual price. I just refuse to pay what I call scalper prices. So if you search Amazon on any of them, I just got Scareglow and Hordak for standard prices. I happen to look for them, maybe once, twice a day. Um, I have a problem. That's fine. Anyway, Trapjaw. He was one of my favorite characters, and his backstory seems to be so brutal. In the comics, he was like this psychotic mass murderer, but as you can imagine, they toned it down for a Saturday morning cartoon special. But I recently saw a photograph of a very realistic, well, it wasn't a photograph, but a painting someone did, very realistic Trapjaw. And you could tell that he's a cyborg and he's been through had a lot of damage. So my intent was not to recreate the Filmation one, because I really didn't feel like painting all the black parts pink, but I wanted to make something realistic. By now you've probably seen my Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, etc. This one was going to be really fun. I love the idea of being able to do all the mechanical parts and having battle damage and dirt and oil, but also I wanted to show that all the blue parts, which are still part of his skin, have received damage. So that was my intent. Here I'm just adding some more browns to the feet, trying to put dust and rust and mud. You saw me put a wash over the furkini, as we call it, to try and give it a little more depth. And here I'm just adding some more browns to give the mechanical parts some more depth. Trapjaw was always really cool, and in the beginning part of the Filmation series, he was pretty cool. By the second season, he'd become a bumbling idiot. There was even an episode where Trapjaw actually had his own lair, and I don't remember exactly what it was. There was some other random big bad guy that Trapjaw was trying to help, and He-Man came in and, of course, won the whole thing. But in the 2000 comic book series, Trapjaw, or Cronus, I believe was his name, actually battled against Skeletor and made an army. Skeletor ultimately defeated him, and I think it was Triclops turned him into the cyborg. Right now, Target has just released a Cronus and Keldor 2-pack for the Origins that shows what Trapjaw looked like before he became a cyborg. So in that one, it shows that his face and his entire skin was blue. So this pink that I'm adding here is trying to show that this mechanical arm has been grafted onto his body, and that he, tried to show the realistic what it would look like after years of battle damage. Here, of course, I'm not heating him up. I just don't feel like letting the paint dry, so hair dryer works pretty good. Now in the background, you'll see a little bottle of something called Bundaberg. I first found out about that on an Adam Savage thing. It's like a ginger beer. It's non-alcoholic and obviously not sponsored, but it's pretty good. I find it at Target. I can't find toys at Target, but I can find Bundaberg. I can't find mass-produced toys, but I can find ginger beer produced in Australia at Target. This world makes no sense anymore. Here I'm just using some silver, doing a little bit of dry brush technique, adding some highlights, lowlights to the mechanical parts, anything that looks like metal. Now, I don't know what happened to this silver, but I actually had some problems with it. It's separating. I need to figure that out or just buy another one. So later you're going to see me come back in with a different silver or some rub and buff. Always good to add other layers, add different tones of silver. It makes it look like I really know what I'm doing, but quite frankly, there was something wrong with this silver paint. Now, in the last couple videos, especially Skeletor and Man-at-Arms, I talked about my brothers and the toys they had I didn't get to play with. Now, none of my brothers, cousins, anybody that I remember had Trapjaw. He was one of the early releases. I don't know or I haven't seen that he was released multiple times. There's a new book out by, I can't remember the guy's name. He goes by Pixel Dan on Instagram. And I'm sure that you'll be able to find all that information out. Anyway, I always thought he was cool, but the one thing I could never figure out was that round circle on his head. It never made a lot of sense. But again, I just had just purchased and read all the original comics that came with the toys, and that was for zip lining. So he would zip line using his head. No wonder he became a bumbling idiot. Even though the second season really turned him into comic relief, there was some really funny sayings between him and Skeletor. One of my favorite is Skeletor is worrying around his Havoc staff, and Trapjaw says something like, "I didn't know you could do that." And Skeletor goes, "I could write a book about the things you don't know." So one of my youngest son's favorite quotes of that era is when Trapjaw and Skeletor are trying to call King Randor, and Skeletor says, "Answer the phone, you royal boob." You know, when you hear stuff like that and you're 7 years old, you repeat it about 1,000 times. It's fine. He's fun. He's also my party planner, and I think he's going to make me a Masters of the Universe birthday party, so that could be fun. So there you go. I think it turned out pretty cool. Gives him a lot more depth. There's another one I bought for my son, and there's my growing collection. It's gotten bigger, much bigger, but they're not toys. They're investments. It's totally cool.